Today we are going to draft a princess dartbustier. So if you are interested in that, keep on watching and let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is draw a starting line. Then I will go ahead and look for my shoulder point. My shoulder measurement divided by 2, which is 15 divided by 2, will give me 7.5, and then I will mark it at 7.5. From that point, I went down by 1 inches to get my shoulder slope, and then I will connect it to meet my shoulder line. So from the shoulder, I came down to 10 inches for my bust point, and then 13 inches for my under bust, and then 16 inches for my waistline. So I will go ahead and rule a line across those points and then label those lines. So this line is the bust line, under bust, and the waistline. The next thing is to mark my armhole depth, and for that I normally divide my bust measurement by 6 and add 1.5 inches to that. So after that I will go ahead and mark my point, which is 7.8, and rule a straight line to join the shoulder slope. So that is my armhole depth. So after this, I'm going to rule a line across, and this line right now will be my chest line. After getting your chest line, the next thing to work on is the armhole depth, and I'm going to measure what I have here and divide it into 2. That's going to be my midpoint. So I will go in by half of an inch at the midpoint, and after that on the chest line, I'm going to measure my bust measurement divided by 4 and mark it. My bust measurement is 38 divided by 4 is going to give me 9.5. So after getting your bust measurement, you are going to join the 3 points together. The next thing I'm going to do is to mark 3 inches in on the neck part, and then I will go down by 5 inches. It depends on how whatever neck you want here, but I'm just going to give it a round neck for this tutorial. So after getting your chest line, the next thing you're going to do is divide your nipple to nipple measurement by 2 and mark whatever you get on the bust line and at the waistline. So after that, you draw a straight line to connect those points. My nipple to nipple measurement is 7. 7 divided by 2 will give me 3.5. So after doing this, on the center front, that is the part going towards the middle, and mark half of an inch on the under bust and the waistline. So after getting those points, you connect the dots. After doing that, you are going to also do that on the side front. But for this, you are going to mark 1.5 inch on the both side and you connect the lines. After doing so, from the bust point on the bust line, you are going to go down by 1 inch and you use your curve rule to draw a curve to meet the points. As you can see how I'm doing it. So on the bust point, I'm going to go up by half of an inch, and I will go ahead and extend my line a little bit to meet the half of an inch. This is just to give space for the bust to sit perfectly well. So after that, the next thing we are going to do is to measure around our armhole area, and whatever you get, you are going to divide it by 2. So what you're going to do is to just divide your armhole and mark a point where the division is. And after that, you are going to join that point to meet the bust point using a curve ruler. After getting this, on this shoulder, we are going to go out by half of an inch on the both side. After marking the half of an inch on the both side, on the half inches that we go up earlier at the bust point, we are going to use curve ruler to make a curve to meet that point from the armhole. We are going to make sure the bust point is curvy. It must not be straight, so you are going to make use of your curve ruler to curve the bust points very well. So we are going to mark 1 inches from this point outside and make a point, and then you draw a straight line across. So after doing that, come to the crotch line at this point here. You're going to extend it by 1 inch again, and then you connect the 2 points to get a new armhole. So after that, we are going to cancel out the old ones that we had before. We are using this new one now. So the next thing now is to start placing all our body measurements. So on the chest line, we have already marked out our bust points. So now I'm going to add 2.5 inches as stitching allowance. On the waistline, I will divide my waist measurement by 4 and mark it. Then I will measure out the dart intake, which is 2 inches, and replace it, and then add my 2 inches stitching allowance. So I will go ahead and join the points at the chest line and the waistline together like this. So as you have seen, I have added my stitching allowance. So this is all for the drafting of the body parts for this pattern, and this is the front pattern. Then you're going to cut it out. So you have to be careful when cutting it out so that you're not going to cut out the useful parts. So for the back, I have already drafted it out how I draft the front part. So I will explain to you guys how I drive my back pattern. So starting at the armhole area, you don't need to look for midpoint. Just draw a curve to meet the bust measurement. So after that, I added 2 inches to that point as my stitching allowance. But at the waistline, I added 3 inches for my stitching allowance and that intake. 2 inches for stitching allowance and 1 inches for that intake. So I used 2 inches for my zipper allowance. And at the zipper allowance on the end of the waistline, I'm going to go in by half of an inch to avoid bulginess that you normally have at the back of your zipper. So then you draw a straight line across. Since we have already measured out the neck for the front, which is 3, and then I will come down by 2 inches and connect it using a curve ruler, as you can see my neck area. On the bust line and the waistline, mark your nipple to nipple measurement and connect the points using the ruler. So at the waistline, I'm going to measure the 1 inches I kept aside for the dart intake. So I will divide the 1 inches into 2, and then I will mark half of an inch on the both side and connect it with a straight line to meet the bust line. So if you close the dart, this is how the back pattern will look like, and then you cut it out. So this is basically all for this back pattern. Then I'll go ahead and arrange my front and back pattern. So this is all for this tutorial. Thanks so much for watching this video. I hope that you tried making a dress with this tutorial. See you guys in my next video. Bye.